welcome Gemini Cancer to your Astro Dice reading for July. I hope you friends are doing great out there. If you friends like this, please like and subscribe. Okay, friends, let's see what's going on with you. And for those of you who are new, this is where I take astrology with tarot and make a small horoscope for the month. Best message. One of the most important houses of the month. Let's see what's going on. Ooh, we have Aries energy coming in to the 6th house. Ooh, with some Pluto energy. Nice. So talking about this Pluto energy is talking about that transition, letting go of certain things that you can have new things to be able to transform into, and taking that big leap forward towards the things that you really want to use and put into action. A lot of times these transformations is just caused by your own creativity, my friends, really moving towards something that you are building and wanting to really create. Talking about that Aries over here and moving in with a lot of passion. The energy around you is dynamic and spontaneous, crusading, impulsive action is likely. And definitely talking about this, especially in the 6th house of hobbies, right? This is where you where you go to work, things that you really are desired and pushed for your own. Could even be entertainment. You know, if you're trying to just something just as simple as, you know, playing a video game or anything of this nature, making a garden, you know, things like that, going to the gym, putting the extra efforts for the things you love. Okay. And the work, health, duty of your life. There you have it. Okay. And it's very inspiring, and it's really this transformative change that is happening within you because you are putting a lot of action into it this month, really wanting this change. You can feel this change. So if you are writing something, maybe some of you are writers and writing books or selling books or doing something like this, you can even feel that you might even have more impact to want to really get out there and sell these books because it's something creative that you have done. So it's definitely on that creative side when it comes to the 6th house. You could even say that if we had the 6th house, a lot of times the 5th house wants to also rule with that because you're talking about that creativity. So I do feel like if we did have another house coming through for a lot of you, I think the 5th house would really come through with the dynamics of some kind of creative change being pushed through. Really can feel that energy. And it's very spontaneous in its own way because of the Aries that's really pushing through, guys. So it could be just something you're really getting out there. Look at that, playing safe. Now is the time to take some risks because you want that for the transformation underneath the Pluto. As the Pluto is coming through and bringing out this energy within you, it's saying it's not time to play it safe. It's time to get out there, get motivated, and start pushing towards the 6th house the way you really truly want to, you know, do what you need to do and really get going in that area. So if you had it some kind of, you know, fence sitting habit that, you know, oh, I'll put it on the back burner, you're going to feel that change and really wanting to be spontaneous and really dynamic about the situation. There's going to be no more real fence sitting coming at this time, right? Because you're going after what you truly deserve at the beginning of the month. So you're definitely going to feel like you have that push, and letting go is letting go of that playing it safe, of that fence sitting, or however it is, whatever it is for you, my friends, right? You know exactly what it is. In the middle of the month, you have a milestone coming in, which is saying I'm hitting that milestone. The healing light that is coming into effect is not going to be as worrisome as it was before. Why? Because you've already started to let it go. So you already feel like you have this impulse. You already feel like you already have the healing that's come through the situation. So you're not going to feel that you need that as much. So, and it could have been because it's sitting on top of the optimism. The healing light of itself just could have been some kind of negative worry that I'm not going to get to where I want to be. This is not going to have a follow through. And now you can actually feel that pull and tug as it's starting to really get you motivated to want to really push towards whatever the 6th house is giving you. Exercise program, doing your creative endeavors, planting that garden, however it is. Commitment. The commitment that you have in this area over here is because you're going to give it the true commitment because you're truly in love with the situation. That's why I said it feels like the 6th house for you guys is really coming through hard with the 5th house in its own way. Why? Because this is something you're truly in love with doing. So you're going to want to push that extra limit. You're going to want to really open up that envelope and see what you can do. Having the committed with the friends and the colleagues, it's showing that you do have some kind of support through your friends and colleagues that are around you who are really going to give you that extra push, that extra tug, and stand next to you as you're committed to doing such a thing, whatever that thing is. Everybody's thing is a little bit different. It's a general reading, so as we see things as we're going and moving along, and bring those out, the things that I might see. The sixth house is a little different though, right? Okay, let's see what's going on here. And you know, it feels like for a lot of you, your friends and colleagues, like I said, they were helping you along the way. It could be, you know, literally go, 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 or literally actually stepping up to the commitment and actually helping. Maybe they want to come help make sure that garden is growing. Maybe they're committing themselves to, you know what, I want to go to the gym too. So seeing what you're doing and committing themselves to some kind of workout or whatever's going on. Yeah, this is showing because playing it safe means I was kind of cold shouldering the situation. I was kind of not giving it my all. So it wasn't that you weren't doing a whole lot, my friends. It's not really what I really see. For some of you, it could have been kind of maybe cold shouldering the whole situation. It just feels like you were just playing it safe to the point where you weren't giving the extra push that you needed. And this month it's saying there's not going to be that because I see the passion. That's the same exact card. Look at that. It almost looks exactly the same too. How crazy. And definitely the Knight of Wands is telling you exactly on that Aries that you have this pull, that you have this dynamic, crusading, wanting to get things done. And there might even be a little indulgence going on within the situation because of the impulsiveness. So that's okay though, because that just means it's really on the mind and you really want that extra push. With the Temperance over here, it is though that make sure that you're doing things moderately, right? When you're doing such a thing, you want to moderately harvest everything that you're doing with the Empress over here so that way you're more productive about the situation. And I do see that there is going to come in more productiveness on your side. So, you know, the energy that's really coming around you could have a little bit of a rash because of the Knight of Wands, a rash outcome, meaning I'm pushing so hard, you know, to get to exactly where I want to be. So if you need to make any kind of negotiations with anything up on a situation, now is the time to do so. Maybe you wanted to open up some kind of studio or something like that. Now is the time to start getting that done and make the negotiations to get that studio or however it is. With a milestone over here, the Queen of Coins is in reverse, and that's just because it does say that the Queen of Coins over here might be a little greedy about this situation when it comes to your Ace of Wands. So it does feel like there is a little bit of a pull and tug with someone else about the situations. Like I said, if you're trying to make some kind of negotiation in the beginning of the month with someone about a situation, it does feel like they want to kind of pull against that situation. So you're going to have to give it your all with the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is saying you're going to have to push harder for the situation, right? Because it's just really one of those things that, you know, it's going to, I don't know, there's a lot of hard-headedness over here with the Queen of Coins. Could be definitely dealing with some kind of earth sign who's just kind of putting their foot down saying, but I don't think this is going to be the way it is. And you might not really trust them that much either, because it's an untrustworthy thing when the Queen of Coins is in reverse, because she's saying she's ungrateful, she doesn't see it your way, or he, and this is what you're going to have. But to reach that milestone, it's going to have to get that extra push from them, making them understand something. Or you're going to have to walk away and find something else, right? One way or another. But the good thing I like is you're staying very optimistic, because it's almost like, well, then fine. I'll figure it out because I'm not going to worry about it. And that's really what it is. You figuring it out because you're holding all the keys right now to the situation. Right, and you have the impulsiveness to say, well, then I'm not going to stand my ground for that right now. You know what? There's other things that I can do. And then for others of you, you're like, oh, well, you know what? I will stand my ground. It depends on the situation. However it is, you're going to forcefully, that's fire. That's forcefully making your routines the way that you need them to be. Right? One way or another. But you have to be careful of this untrustworthy Queen of Coins, right? So you want to be kind of patient maybe with them. Maybe that's where she's coming in and she's saying, but I want you to be a little patient too, because when the Queen of Coins says this is what it is, you don't want her to allow her or him to give you any fears, right? By you jumping to any kind of conclusions that they're not going to do this or they're not going to do that, or that you won't be able to have exactly what it is. And maybe this won't transpire the way you wanted it to. So I would definitely watch that. So it could even be just love collaboration. It could be that your loved one's not really on the same page with you, right? So with the healing light over here, it's just saying, well, I'm not going to mess around with that situation too much. Okay, because this is definitely talking about the connection of what it is that you're bringing into your life. That is the resolution to the situation, right? Because you're talking about a miraculous change. And you are talking about that through the Pluto. So whatever it is, it's definitely working it out with the Queen of Coins to make some kind of change that needs to be there. And remember, this is also signals your ability to share your healing energy with the universe and within yourself. So that way you can engage in the things that you really need to engage with. And really showing that you are pushing through without having them hold you back, you know, from the situation. So you want to trust your own power within yourself. So that way you know exactly where you are. And keeping the optimism alive over here is showing that you do have the optimism this month to really not worry about what the Queen of Coins is going to say. Okay, fine, whatever. Do what you must, but I will, you know, I will push through. There it is. I will push through, because the challenge to you is worth the fight. So you're going to separate yourself from things that say, no, I'm not going to do that, but I am in challenge mode. So definitely, I would say separating yourself from anything that's going to be an argument, but definitely keeping yourself grounded and keeping yourself in a challenge mode when it comes to the Ace of Wands, because this is the new beginning that you're looking for. This is what you're fighting for. This is exactly what you want this month to be able to do. So, wow. So the middle of the month, yeah, you got a little bit of balance issues that you're going to have to go with when it comes to the 6th house, right? So that you can get your overall victory from this situation. But no matter what, it looks good because it looks like you're still traveling towards the things that you really, truly want. So you got that. But then you got, at the end of the month, the commitment. And I do feel like, you know, someone else might be stepping up to the plate if the Queen of Coins decides that she doesn't want to be there, right? If she doesn't want to participate or he doesn't want to participate, could be male or female, doesn't have, you know, be just one. But they do have this commitment because they see your commitment. So whether or not they're going to pull through for the situation, I don't know. We'll see who it is. Committed for the transformation through the Pluto, through the six of Wands, through the passion in what you want. No, not a coins, because it's okay. So the Queen of Coins says that she's making a delay. She says, I'm not really truthfully going that way. So it looks like you have other friends and colleagues that will step up to plate because it looks like this one's not going to move. No, she wasn't wanting to do whatever is going on. So you have the Page of Swords coming up. So you could have this Libra or this Gemini that says, no, don't worry, because, you know, I have new abilities and new ideas that are coming through. So this person here will actually be more on your side through the situation and committed to making sure that your rewards come through. And I feel like it's going to be very rewarding as you're, you know, and kind of studying and paying attention to the situation as well. But I do feel like this, I'm going to call it Gemini for now, is going to pull through to say, okay, well, I see your rewards. Let's do this together. For some of you, and for others of you, it's just really patiently learning that, you know, this other person is not really going to be there. The King of Cups in reverse with the true love. Yeah, they're kind of having emotional. I don't think that they're really, no, they're not really 100% seeing where you want to be at this time. But there's a lot of pull through that situation. But you definitely, whatever sticky emotional areas that are going on within the King of Cups, you're definitely going to definitely step right out of that, because you're going to step right back into the change anyway. So whatever emotions they want to throw out, that's, you know, that's fine on how they're going to do it, because you're going to, you know, continue to keep doing what you want this month to get the success that's needed. Okay, and that was it for you, my friends. Until next time, peace and love. Bye-bye.